Hey everybody, this is MyCollectables and I got a special video right here. Super honored to be able to do this. We have Mitch from Veve who's going to discuss the Veve Comics site, some of the issues that we've had, some of the things off the launch. I'm going to ask him some questions and we're going to find out some more stuff about it. So I really want to introduce him here and thank him for coming to the channel. Mitch, how you doing? Great to meet you in person finally. Well, not in person, but on screen.
Hi, MC. How are you? Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to have the opportunity to jump on the show. Long time fan.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Right back at you. I know you guys are working your butts off right now, so it's so cool that you had the chance to come on here just to kind of answer a few questions, let us know what's going on with the Veve Comics site. I know everyone's all over it. There's lots of questions. Maybe we'll get to some of those today. But first off, in case people don't know who you are, right? If they haven't been, following yet, can you just let everybody know who you are like at Veve and what your role is there?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Hi, I'm Mitch. I have a last name, but let's stick with Mitch for now.
Okay.
So I'm the product director here at Veve, and at the moment, I have the privilege actually to be the person that's currently looking after pretty much all of the digital products that all of the community kind of interacts with on Veve itself. Everything from collectibles through to now comics.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And how long have you been at the company for?
Well, tough question.
Yeah.
Can't remember. Actually, maybe November, officially November 2022.
Yeah,
so a year and a bit.
It's been a bit now. Yeah, you're becoming a diehard here. I'm becoming a bit of an OG in a way. Putting the time in.
Maybe, but I would say just more behind the scenes type of individual,
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's get right to it for sure. Thanks for coming on. I got some questions for you. This is our little screen right here, and let's see what we can come from it. Question one for you. How long is Veve? I wanted to ask you about this since you're like the one who's really working on this stuff and your team as well, right? And you can shed any light on that. That would be amazing. Like how many people are working on this. How long has Veve Comics been in the making? And can you tell us about how it came about from your perspective?
Yeah, so I'll caveat.
Yeah.
The story I'm about to tell is my own experience, right?
Yeah.
There are obviously some things that I can't go into in too much detail, but for me, it started right from the beginning. So when I first got into Veve, as we talked about before, November 2022, there were already discussions about what we needed to do and why we needed to do the things that we've done so far. Right. And it really stemmed off from the vision of both Dan and David. They wanted to do something different. They looked. We looked at what Veve was offering right now, and we said, well, how do we reduce some of these barriers to on-ramping? And what actually makes sense? How can we make a difference? And where was the natural starting point? And then obviously we sat down with our launch partners, and we had a good conversation. It was pretty much hand in hand, pretty collaborative. Sitting down, lots of drawings, lots of boxes and arrows, and thinking about the whys and the reasons behind why we're doing the things that we're doing, and then designing what that might look like in boxes and arrows. It was just boxes and arrows and lots of conversations behind that. So it started for me right from the beginning, about a year and a bit ago.
Wow. Yeah. So you guys have been working on this for a long time.
Yeah, we have, and obviously a lot of credit to the team. On this as well, but the process was quite gradual. We conversed, and then we ideated, and then we sat down and we went through some of the finer details, and then the team was bulked up as we progressed, and the idea became a little bit less of an idea and more of a reality.
Yeah, 100%. That's crazy. It's people that the whole time. I mean, in the background, you guys are working so hard on this, and we don't know, right? We're like, and people are like, oh, what are they doing? And you guys are like putting this thing together. It's pretty awesome. Let's get to the second question for you. So how did the launch go for you guys?
Well, I would start by saying everybody has a plan until you get hit in the face. I think Mike Tyson said that.
Yeah,
we got hit in the face.
Okay.
The launch from my perspective, it went well up until the 20-minute mark. You know, what for us was something that we planned and we tried to anticipate. We're hoping for the best. We're planning for the worst. Everything was running quite well, and I think for the broad community as well, I think this impact that has some degree of negative impact. I'm not going to say the launch went well. I'm trying to be realistic here. For me, I thought we could have done better, like quite a lot better. Things did not go according to our plan, but having said that, it is a new product. We do anticipate things to not go according to plan. We try to plan for it as much as we can. We try to anticipate, but nobody can anticipate the volume and the enthusiasm and energy and scale of the community itself. So that's what we experienced at launch.
Interesting, for sure. Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, on the outside here, we've been all like experience all sorts of different things, you know, a lot of successes, some failure parts about it, like on our personal as collectors. So it's interesting to hear you say that as well. I'll just go to the third one because this all kind of ties together. Just there's some delays in updates on the socials, like to the community. This is something people were asking about, and people are kind of wondering, like what were those delays all about? You know, were you guys just working things out? Maybe you could speak on that a little bit about, there was a bit of a gap there from that first day or so where you guys were kind of on it. And then you said, we're working on it. And then we didn't hear anything for a few days. What was going on during that period? I assume you guys were just working hard.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, an acknowledgement, right? Like, we see all the feedback. And we're trying to onboard as much of the positive and constructive feedback that's coming through. And I really want to thank everybody that is watching and beyond that for the feedback, because it actually really helps us. For the delays itself, that's why I'm here to answer these questions. I mean, we were busy kind of working through, I think I tweeted a little bit after the launch itself. There is a team of people sitting here at Veve working on these things right from the get-go, and we've been going since launch, right? And sometimes that kind of slips our mind a little bit. We're kind of in detail trying to figure out how to make things better, and that oftentimes doesn't manifest itself into, we need to communicate. But you know, we have another team that's constantly saying, guys, how's it going? We need to communicate, and then it's just a lag, because Veve is also quite it's a global workplace.
Right.
And time zones are also kind of something that we navagate pretty much
with your team
on a daily basis.
Yeah,
with different teams. So we're working with different teams all around the world, and we're trying to do our best to make sure that information flows inside first, so that we're coordinated and we're organized in how we execute different fixes and different resolutions. And of course with the communications team as well.
Right, for sure. Like I heard rumors, you know, that you guys are working like 20-hour days during this period or crazy stuff like that. Is that, or like, I mean, like, you know, during that time period, right? And even now, maybe you touch on that, like about, you know, like what's it like? Are you guys really pounding it? Like, I know, are you doing shift work? Because you said, somebody who might be in your team that's over here, like in the West Coast, and then where you're at, you know, maybe you hand off. I don't know. Is that how things were going, or?
Well, I'm based in Auckland, in New Zealand specifically, right? So like it's a completely different time zone,
right?
From East Coast to the West Coast of the United States. So we have team members dispersed right across the world, and our main focus is not. We don't necessarily put focus on the hours that we work. We put focus on the and emphasis on the overlap of those hours, because you know, as much as you know, you can work in an async fashion, it is more effective to have hours where you're able to sit down together, have a proper conversation, work through some of the problems in a collaborative space. So working 20 hours, sure, but more important than working 20 hours, it's actually making sure that the communication lines between people in different places in the world are shortened, and we're more effective in terms of our communication. And sometimes it slips.
Right. 100%. Okay. Thanks for answering that one. Next one that I want to get to here, and this is another question I think a lot of people in the community were wondering, you know, the comics that are released on the site, you know, we all want to know which ones, right? Because we all want to go after them. And we've been searching the Marvel site, you know, we've been looking at the releases, And will you guys be releasing kind of like a list of the ones that are coming out on, like, say, a Wednesday, or will we just have to keep like, how's that going to work right there with that? Because it's the ones we showed up, we were like doing an estimation, and it's a lot of fun to speculate. And there's some that we didn't get that we're hoping to get to maybe next week. So will you have kind of an announcement sort of thing in the future, or?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to experiment with different timings at the moment. So, and mostly in balance with what's contracted with launch partners, right, and partners themselves. So what we're trying to do is find the best balanced outcome for most people around the world. And the other thing to emphasize is that from a comic standpoint, Veve Comics is pretty much an extension of the Veve product set overall. It differs slightly from Veve, where Veve emphasizes drops and drop times.
Yes.
Right? Veve Comics actually emphasizes accessibility of comics. It emphasizes reading. It emphasizes browsing as a primary experience.
Yeah.
So for us, we look at it as it operates almost like a digital always-on bookstore, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so the experiences is adjacent.
Yeah.
But we didn't necessarily at this stage, when it's part of the experimentation, feel that, we didn't want that drive to be all about the drop. It's really about the comics are released, have a look at what you like, and then choose to experiment on your own and try different experiences, read different things, browse, and enjoy the experience. So that's where we're at. But overall, we are trying to standardize that approach.
Okay.
And that will be a balance between how Veve on the collectible side does things and how we are going to do things forward in terms of what we do on Veve Comics itself when it comes to releases. So we're going to try and get some degree of standards in there with a little bit of experimentation in between. So you can expect that things will be announced. Okay. And the deliverable times or the release times will probably we'll try and standardize it as much as we can to achieve a balance.
For sure. Okay, that's great. That's actually a really good point you made about how you guys see the platform as compared to not being so drop focused, like, oh, everyone show up on this day.
Yeah, correct.
About like the whole experience. Okay, I like that for sure. Okay, let's get to the next one. And thanks for doing this again. This is so fun to ask.
No worries.
These answers are, I'm really enjoying these answers right here. Hopefully everybody is as well. So question 5. So we were talking about there's a confusion in the community about the payments and stuff. Whether they're going through. So my question is was there an issue with accepting payments? Like, is that what some of the delay was, or and is it resolved? Like, maybe you could touch on whatever you can tell us about some of those.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
not a problem. So another acknowledgement. Yes, there was a problem with the payments. It happened pretty early on in the launch.
Okay.
And that had a downstream impact to all of the challenges that we're facing at the moment and that we're trying to resolve, right? Basically what happened during the launch was that we work with our partners on the payments gateway side, and some automated rate limits were hit. So these rate limits are put on an hourly basis. And from a gateway point of view, it helps them kind of manage any sort of like unexpected volume from a fraud management point of view, gateway side. Okay. In the first 20 minutes of the launch, the rate limit that they put on us was exceeded pretty quickly. And that raised the risk profile of the channel from the gateway side pretty significantly, which meant that a lot of cards, not only did the transaction capability stopped. Yeah. Not only did it stop and not only did it get shut down, but it also started flagging cards that were on repeat purchases. So we saw a lot of people consistently try, but we had no ability to kind of continue those payments, and it was being flagged on the card side. So most of the issues on the payment side and the rate limits have been resolved. Okay. But it did have a downstream impact that cascaded into things like, cards not being able to be delivered, deliveries were delayed, and all that sort of stuff that we're experiencing right now. So things like your spin wheels and whatnot. Sure. Most of them have been resolved, as I mentioned before. Yeah. But some of them are still being worked on, and there's two things that are primarily there. One is the things like spin wheels that you're seeing in order fails. Sure. Coming through. Those are a product of potentially your cards being flagged on the back end as a result of that initial kind of lock off from the payment gateway. So a part resolution for that would be try to ring your card issuer and provide verbal acceptance.
Okay.
On that to get them deflagged. And then on our side, we're still working with our payment providers to put in robust rules that will kind of smoothen out this process a little bit more. But the bulk of it has been resolved. Okay,
good to know. Thank you so much for that. That's a good explanation right there. Number 6 for you. I only got 10 and then a fun one. I got a fun one for you.
Awesome.
So I guess this ties right into it, like how some people were able to purchase and others not. I guess you basically described that there as cards being flagged and stuff. Anything else you want to add to it? Because this is, I guess, you kind of answered this one in a bit here.
No,
or is it slightly different? Yeah.
No, it's all kind of related. The issues that you may be seeing with order fails or this continuous spin wheel after you've hit the payments button, they're all related to the clients coming from the card issuer side because of the sudden increase in risk profile on the gateway side. So these things are not within our control immediately, but we're trying to resolve them methodically with the gateway so that we can get past this state and smoothen out the payments portion of Veve Comics.
Okay, for sure. Okay, thanks for that, man. I appreciate that. So then this question right here, number 7. So some people are still missing some comics, that they've ordered or feel like they've ordered or they've been charged for. I'm not really sure. Everybody's got kind of a little bit of a different situation. So will some of those outstanding comics, do you know, be delivered or will it be refunded and then it will be available in the store again? Or you can speak to this issue a bit?
Yeah, totally. So from our side, what we're trying to do now is we're working to fulfill outstanding cards at the moment. Okay. And what we can't fulfill, unfortunately, we will be refunding. Okay. There is a long tail that we're working through, as you can imagine. It's taken us quite a while. I think this is day 7 or 8 now since launch, and we have been working on this consistently. Yeah. And we are trying to make sure that to the best of our ability, we are going to try and fulfill as much of this. If not, there will be refunds being issued. Yeah. Just look out for that, guys.
And it'll just keep on as each day goes on. You guys will keep on.
As each day goes on, the queue, so to speak, gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But we're working through that process.
As a little side note here, so should people with a lot of items say that they haven't been delivered, should they be doing tickets on Veve's Discord?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we would love is if people can either put it on Discord or actually just open a ticket with support. That actually really helps us kind of work through the long tail in case there's anything. I don't want to miss anything.
Right.
I want to be thorough. So being thorough sometimes requires a bit of patience. But if you send it through, we get it for sure, and we'll try and work through that process.
Okay, sounds good. If anyone needs help with that, hit the Veve Discord, and they'll show you how to do a ticket, you guys. So here's the next one right here. I only got a couple more for you. So this is just the time of day. So I know that of course, you and I are on the opposite sides of the world. This is why it's so cool that we can chat like this in real time. It's so amazing, right? And the Veve community is spread across. There were some questions about the 12 a.m. Wednesday morning release time of these new comics. I know I follow Disney Plus, so when they come out with a new show, it's always the day before midnight, but it's actually the same. It's actually the first part of the next day that we can watch these shows, like the X-Men 97 and stuff that came out.
Yeah.
So, so will the comics all be released at that time on Wednesday morning, or will you guys adjust that time? I know you guys have a lot of customers in the United States and in say in New York, for example, and that, it's like 3 a.m. I know on your side of the world, and in other places, we've had that issue with people with drops on Veve, like in the middle of the night. So have you guys given any thought to the release time, or is it a Marvel thing, or maybe just speak to that? Yeah.
It's a combination. So first off, I'd say that for me, on the collectible side, it's always 3 to 4 a.m. when I want.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, right?
Something. Alarms on. I get up and I'm like trying to spam a button to get a collectible. But on this side, as I mentioned earlier, we are experimenting with some times. We are talking internally about what is the best possible time that we can do this? Because like I said, the experience is not what we're not trying to do is emphasize the drop. What we're trying to do is inform people that releases are coming, and that needs to be standardized. From our side, we need to make sure that we are in alignment with some of the terms that we have on with our partner. But the objective is to kind of operate almost like an always-on store where releases will happen, and the emphasis will be on, hey, releases are coming. Not the drop time is at this specific time, right? But experimentation in these early days should be expected. We're not trying to skew advantages to any type of time zone. What we're trying to do is trying to find the balance and trying to find the optimum delivery point where most people will benefit from that.
Okay, fair enough. So keep our eyes on the site, keep our eyes on the announcement. If we're all like, it actually ties right into my kind of final question before I get to my fun one for you too. Is that so there were some comics like Spider-Boy 1, Ultimate Spider-Man 1, some of the big ones that people really love, and they were like doing that thing, they were held up, like you said, where we couldn't buy and the reserved and all that. And then at some point, I think this is the 21st of March that I'm talking to you right here. So sometime in the middle of the night, like last night on the Western Coast here, some of those comics like Spider-Boy 1 became available again. People like just kind of noticed. The DM started going around. People started tweeting about it. So is there any like particular reason why that happened at that particular time? Or is it just this thing you're talking about, how things are getting resolved and they're coming back out? Or because a lot of people didn't know that happened and they were like sleeping and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And firstly, I want to acknowledge that, like, I think things could have been done better, and they will be done better. But I'm gonna try and take responsibility for that, right? We're not intending to release these things back into circulation at specific times. What we are doing, however, is getting the focus of the teams to get these comics unstuck, basically, as part of the whole long tail of impacts that we've had. So, as I mentioned earlier, the team is quite dispersed. We're working in different time zones. We're trying to overlap. The focus is on the work. And, I'll be the first to say that sometimes I get tunnel visioned into, we need to focus on getting these things out because the community actually really wants them. And the benefit of working at Veve is that you get instantaneous feedback. The negative at working at Veve is that you get instantaneous feedback, right? So it's a double-edged sword. So I mean, it's all digital form, but the pressure is there for sure. I can see it, and I feel it, and the team feels it as well. So the emphasis is on the work, and the way that we've set ourselves up is that when things are ready to go, they're deployed into production as quickly as we can. So we're not particularly looking at times. We're saying when it's ready, let it go. And because the time zones are dispersed to an extent, sometimes we don't get that communication into our communication teams or team members at that particular point in time, where some people might not be available and some people are. So we're still focused on actually just getting the work done. It's a lot of attention to detail, and it's a lot of emphasis on making sure that we're trying to do our best. And sometimes we tend to drop the ball on making sure that things are communicated correctly.
Yeah, it seems like this won't be an issue at all, like moving forward after you guys.
Hopefully not. Yeah, well, that's the whole point of resolving these.
Yeah, the resolving part of it, and that's amazing for sure. This is and I kind of know the answer to this one. I just wanted to, give you a chance. Gives you shout out to your team, how hard this team working. I'm not asking that with tongue in cheek. I'm just saying like all hands on deck. Maybe describe like how you guys are going through. You talked a little bit about it, but how's the team working on this? Are you guys all like, you getting any sleep or what? I mean, come on now. It's just comics, but yeah, there's
sleep is something that eludes me at the moment. It's eluded me since launch time. But what I will say is this: I'll say that ultimately the things that the community experiences, the negative things, they're my accountability. So it comes down to me when things don't go right. And on the other side, full credit is to the team, right? These guys they've been working tirelessly pre and post launch.
Right.
Pre-launch, not so bad because there's not so much immediate feedback and pressure. But post-launch, you know, all credit has to go to them. They're the ones that are coming up with these amazing fixes and solutions that make an impact to the experiences that everyone is experiencing, right?
Right.
And for them, sleep is also an imaginary thing right now. Everyone's working pretty damn hard to make sure that things are smoothing out. We do see all the feedback. The team gets the feedback immediately as well, but you know it doesn't take away from the effort that they've put in. And little things are constantly being addressed. I don't know if you guys will notice this thoroughly, and if we do our jobs correctly, you shouldn't notice it at all.
Right.
But every single thing that is not doing exactly the things that it should do on the site, they're being picked up. From feedback, from you know the testing that we're doing in production as well, and they're being worked on. And I think we're up to iteration, I don't know, release number 30 something now, you know, with little patches going out, consistently rolling out and addressing everything from small to large issues.
100%. Well, I want to throw some flowers your guys' way because I know there's been issues and I know there's been some frustrations, but I mean, the experience of actually, you know, what we're able to do now with these new comics and read them and the vision behind it, I think is absolutely stellar. And that's just my personal point of view. I know a lot of people who are super stoked about this and about these new comics, getting a chance to read them. And what you guys are building here, I think is really amazing. So I want to give you a shout out for that. I know there's been issues and I know you're feeling it, but I must say you guys have also killed it too in a ton of ways. And I mean, obviously daily, it looks like things are just improving. And
thank you.
Exciting, man. It's pretty exciting what the future lies here. So
yeah, everyone's super excited. The team is so excited about what they've produced, right? And I know pre-launch, everyone was like, I can't wait to get this out to people, see what they think. You know, we worked with the beta group. We had a lot of feedback, and that was great. But it doesn't take away from the excitement of actually lifting the veil. And having people see the products or the fruits of the labor that's happened over the last few months. So again, credit to all of them. They've put in the hours, and can't imagine it. I can't imagine working with a better team than this right now.
That's awesome. I got one final question for you, and I'll let you go because I know, like you said, you've been busy. I can't even, you know, thank you for taking the time to do this. It really, I think, is going to be awesome for the community.
It's not a problem. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to read any of these comics? I mean, because, you know, or has it been all like hands-on? Because we want you guys to have some fun too, right? So
good question. I'd love a chance to have a good few hours of sleep for sure. I'll start with that. But I've done a lot of functional reading of quite a few test comics and comics themselves, testing the panels and making sure that, you know, at least I understand the thorough experience from start to finish. And I think I want to start with Spider-Boy.
Oh yeah.
It's either Spider-Boy or Fall of the House of X for me.
Oh, okay.
I kind of want to start with some degree of origin story stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I only managed to get the comic version of Spider-Boy. The limited edition comic eludes me at the moment.
Okay.
I did not manage to get that one. Yeah, the reader version.
That's great though.
I want to start with those, but not before I've managed to kind of catch up on some much needed rest.
Oh man, for sure. Well, like, let me get you back to that. Let's get you some rest. And like, again, thank you so much for coming on. If people
no problem
have any questions for you, should they reach out on Discord or on Twitter, or how should they do that?
Oh, if you've got any questions, reach out on Discord, put it through support. I do see a lot of these things, or you can just tag me on Twitter. I might not respond,
right?
But I do try to keep an eye on what's going on. So you know, keep doing what you're doing, good and bad. I think it keeps us motivated. It keeps us on our toes. So thank you very much once again.
Well,
thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks. I'd love to have you back sometime. We can have some fun and talk
about
what we talked about. All right, Mitch, I'll let you get back to it. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the future. And like I said, some flowers for you guys. The site is like really, I think, coming together. So we really thank you for for giving us this this really new, amazing thing to play with. And
no, it's an absolute
it's a long road, right? But hey,
long road, but it's an absolute privilege. Thank you once again.
Cheers.